The books are read. The videos were watched. The boys were kissed. Oh, what's the video about? The video is about the passive voice in the simple present tense and the past tense. Nice to see you. Here we go. First of all, let's talk about the usage. When do you use the passive voice? Here we go. With the passive voice, you can provide information about an action without saying who performs the action. The action is in the foreground, not the person who performed it. In the German translation, use a form of werden, for example, wird, wurde. Whenever you can use a form of werden, wird, wurde, in the German translation, it's probably a passive voice sentence. Now, here is the structure. How do you form a sentence in the passive voice? Basically, passive sentences can be formed in all tenses. In this video, we are only talking about the present tense and the past tense to start with. And here we go with the present tense. In every passive voice sentence, you need a form of the verb to be. In the present is am, is, or are, and negative am not, isn't, or aren't. Plus the past participle form. It's the third form of the verb. And here we have two options. We have a regular formation. It's the infinitive plus ed. Visit, visited. And we have an irregular form. There is a list in your book at the back and you have to learn them by heart. Go, went, gone. Be, was, were, been. Buy, bought, bought. You have to learn these verb forms by heart. There is no rule for the irregular verb forms. Now, let's talk about examples. Here we go. In the present tense. The books aren't read. You see, there is always a form of to be and the past participle. This movie is watched every week. Cookies aren't eaten. A car isn't needed in a city. And it's not important who performed the action. The action itself is in the foreground. That's the important thing. And that's the main thing about the passive voice. The action is the thing that is important, not the person. In most of the times. Now, perhaps you might guess what the structure is like in the past tense. You have always a form of to be plus past participle. That's in each tense the same. And here we have was or were, or wasn't, and weren't as negative options. Plus, as I mentioned before, the third form of the verb, the past participle. Here it is. And here are some examples. Probably you already know what the sentence look like. You have always a form of to be plus past participle. Lisa was kissed yesterday. It's not important who performed the kiss with Lisa. Kevin wasn't taken to hospital 2 days ago. We were asked to be quiet. Probably by the teacher or by the parents, but it's not necessary. It's not important. If it is an important information to add who performed the action, you can use the by agent. If you want to say who performs the action in a passive sentence, add the words by to her or him. This is called the by agent. And here are some examples. Sometimes it's not important to say who performs the action, but there are cases when it's necessary because it's an important information. For example, the cake is eaten by Marlene and Hannah. Greta wasn't kissed by Kevin last Friday. I wasn't asked for a dance by Mary. Some houses were destroyed by a storm. Marlene and Hannah, Kevin, Mary, a storm are important informations, and therefore we add it with the little word by, and this is called by agent. Summary. When we want to talk about things where the action is in the foreground and not the person who performed the action, we can use passive voice sentences. In German, you always use the word werden, wurde, wird, and so on. You can form passive voice sentence in every tense. And in this video was about the present tense and the past tense. The thing every passive voice sentence has in common, we always need a form of the verb to be, as this is the form that can be transformed in every tense. In the present tense, there is am, is, are. In the past tense, there is was, were, future, will be, present perfect, has been, and so on. And there is always the past participle form, the third form of the verb. There is a regular form, infinitive plus ed, and an irregular form. You have to learn these forms by heart. If it's necessary to add the information who performed the action, you can add it with the word by, and this is called the by agent. Das war's. Ich hoffe, das Video war hilfreich und nützlich. Wenn es dir gefallen hat, Daumen hoch. Wenn du sagst, laberababa, wusste ich schon alles, Daumen nach unten. Ansonsten sage ich es allen weiter. Ich freue mich gern sehr über einen Kommentar, noch mehr über ein Abo des Kanals. Lass gern bei Fragen einen Kommentar da. Ich versuche alle vernünftigen Kommentare zu beantworten. Manchmal sind auch weniger vernünftige dabei. Und ansonsten, wenn du mehr üben möchtest, empfehle ich dir natürlich die Internetseite www.grammarbox.de. Und wenn du noch mehr üben möchtest, das English Grammar Workbook. Informationen dazu findest du unten in der Videobeschreibung. Ansonsten danke fürs Zusehen, bis zum nächsten Mal und ciao for now.